We are going to Vicksburg, Idaho, I think. We're going to see the solar eclipse.
Yay. And how early is it?
See that in notes.
It's really early.
Yeah.
And what t-shirt?
Let me see what time it is. It is 5:59 o'clock 5:59 in the morning.
All right. And what t-shirts are you wearing?
NASA shirt.
Yay.
But they're
Change
really
colors.
huge. And she is not wearing her NASA shirt.
All right.
She's not wearing her NASA shirt. She is wearing her boat shirt.
All right, let's get you loaded up, and then I'll load up Dobby.
Okay.
Yes, we made it to Idaho to see the eclipse. We didn't quite make it to Rexburg, but we stopped in St. Anthony, which is in the path of totality, so I consider that a win. We left Bozeman right around 6 in the morning and headed south, our van loaded with our family and even our dog Dobby. We had packed the night before meals, drinks, snacks, maps, water, telescope, solar glasses, measuring instruments, radios, and even some overnight provisions. The best thing we brought was a bucket toilet and a privacy tent. Little kiddos mean little bladders. So we hit the road, and it was smooth sailing down 191, cruising through the Gallatin Canyon with just normal Monday morning traffic. Once we passed Big Sky, even that eased. We slide on through West Yellowstone at the south end of Montana and turn on to Route 20 and get into Idaho. Well, that is where we first started to see some traffic. Nothing slowing down, but a long line of cars heading south. So when we were about halfway to Island Park, that's when things started to back up, and not just the cars. We just happened to be at a place called the Drift Lodge and Fly Shop. I unbuckle my daughter with the more urgent need and head to the fly shop. We step in and there is one man seated next to but facing away from the door on a laptop. No greeting, not even a glance over his shoulder to acknowledge our existence. Maybe he doesn't work there, I don't know. So I start with a friendly, "Good morning, I was wondering if we might be able to use your bathroom." Finally, Mr. Laptop turns his head a little and mumbles something about no bathrooms there and the only bathrooms are in the lodge. So I ask if there are public restrooms and he says they're only for paying guests of the lodge. Now, it's not like the eclipse was a surprise. They had to realize thousands and thousands of cars would be passing by. Our business relies heavily on customer service, and I would have taken that opportunity to show those thousands of families what a great place it is. Open by bathrooms, had water bowls for dogs, whatever. I guess they didn't feel that way. So we set up the bucket in the van for some privacy and let the girls relieve themselves. In that time, a couple other people pull in, and we see someone from the lodge come out and start yelling at one of the cars who had driven up. Not sure what to make of it, but we finish and clean up and continue on our way. Since then, I have looked up the Drift Lodge and Fly Shop in Island Park and found a surprising number of very poor reviews citing bad customer service and the owner even yelling at guests. So from my experience and others' reviews, maybe pass this establishment by. So back into traffic we go. Stop and go for the next couple hours. People are starting to set up for viewing in the rest areas. Tent campsites are available for $150 a night. Finally, we pass Ashton and the road opens up. I knew St. Anthony was in the path of totality, so we pressed on and made it there with about a half hour left, and pulled into Maverick's service station and found a spot. We set up the telescope, grabbed our solar glasses and pinhole boxes, and got ready. With only a half an hour before totality, I did not take the time to set up my whisper station, which is a low-power digital mode on the ham radio frequencies. Since I have yet to get spotted on the WhisperNet while testing it at home, I didn't think it was worth the time and missed the lead-up to the eclipse. We also had some thermometers to log readings in the NASA Globe Observer app, which prompted a temperature and weather recording every 5 minutes. Simple to use, and I like to be able to add to research as an individual. As the moon blocked more and more of the sun, it got dimmer and dimmer. It seemed as bright as an overcast day, but there were still sharp shadows, except the smaller shadows were taking on the shape of the eclipsed sun. Now, anyone who stayed in Bozeman got to see a 95% eclipse, but unless you are in the area of 100% totality, you did not get to see this. Words cannot accurately describe the experience. Pictures and videos, as expected, cannot capture the gravity of such a surreal event. Headlights and streetlights turned on, planets and stars are visible, and for once you can actually look at the sun and see the sun's corona surrounding this Vanta black circle. In a moment, it turns from day to night, and a mere 2 minutes later, the sun pierces the dark and it's over. As the light returned, there was a wavering rainbow of colors that must have been diffraction off the edge of the moon as the only visible sunlight skimmed the moon's surface. So we eat lunch, get some postcards and milkshakes, and point the minivan back north. Now I expected traffic to be bad heading down to the eclipse and the ride back to be better. Boy, was I wrong. Under normal circumstances, the 160-mile trip should take just under 3 hours. For hours at a time, we were at a virtual standstill, and it took us over 9 hours to get home. We met some very nice Eclipse fans who were as stuck as we were. And this is where the value of the potty bucket and privacy tent shined. 9 hours in a van full of snacks and drinks and small bladders requires several stops, which were made quite a bit easier with this setup. Lesson learned. That is a road trip necessity. Finally, after the Earth blocked the sun's light, at some time after 11 p.m., we made it home, carried ourselves inside, and to bed. Was it worth the hassle of an overcrowded road trip? Absolutely. We have even started making plans for the 2024 eclipse that will pass from Texas to Maine. There may be even some Eclipse ink in the near future. Thanks for watching, and if you got to see a totality, tell me about it in the comments section. And if you missed the totality this time, do yourself the favor and make it to the next one. Thank you.
When it was dark, I tried to look at the sun without my glasses, but I had to give my back to the sun, and I had to keep my back to the sun.
Very good.
Rotating?
Rotating?
Yeah.
Lily, did you see any interesting shadows?
In fact, I did. By the tree. On the shadow of the trees, it actually had a bunch of moon-shaped sunlight spots. We're stuck in traffic a lot, really. If the eclipse at our house burns up, we will be so mad. Now show it to me. For just a second. Me?